Round 25 is here. I'm Paul Jodka, joined by Anthony Seibold here on The Game Plan. Seibs, we know the big three this year have been safe in the finals for a while now, but let's take a look at the next rung of clubs. Teams 4 through 9, who at their peak have all shown they can win the big games, but perhaps struggled a little bit more with consistency. We'll start with the team that you could say has the most variance between their top and bottom performances, and that's the Parramatta Eels. They take on the Storm this week with a top 4 spot on the line. They did beat Melbourne earlier this year. Show us how they did it then and can do it again on Thursday.
Well, they've had plenty of opportunity to score points the last 2 weeks against the Bulldogs and also the Broncos. Over 90 points since Mitchell Moses has returned. What I wanted to do was go back and have a look at how they did win against the Storm down in Melbourne earlier this year. And one of the trends I found was this. They got some real success out of their kicks down in Melbourne earlier this year. And one of the trends that I did see was kicking the ball on the third last defender. So just for our viewers, that's the third last defender there. That's Jahrome Hughes. This week, we think it potentially could be young Cooper Johns if Jahrome Hughes doesn't play. And what Parramatta did exceptionally well was isolate that third last defender. And what they had is, in this example here, Tom Opacek coming in on a J line, similar to what I've drawn up there on the screen. And I'll let this one play through. Mitchell Moses comes across, right foot kick, puts it into that space where Jahrome Hughes was. Jahrome Hughes gets isolated. So 3 in defenders are normally the halfback, so they're quite short or smaller than the outside back. So putting it on the third last defender lacks a little bit of protection. So really smart play there by the Parramatta Eels. Tom Opacek goes and finishes the job, scores a 4-pointer. All right, so this time, third last defender, that's Cameron Munster. Now this week, it's likely to be Nick Meaney. So Nick Meaney has played a little bit of fullback, but again, he's not the tallest of players. So again, this could be a tactic that the Parramatta Eels use. So this time again, Mitchell Moses in the number 7, puts it in that space there for the Parramatta Eels to come in on that J line. You'll see Justin Olam there. He comes in to try and contest rather than protect Cameron Munster. He gets up there. Parramatta Eels get a little bit of luck here, but again, they put it on that space where that third last defender stands. So 3 in defenders is what coaches call them, and they can be a little bit isolated. So really good tactics earlier this year. It'll be interesting to see whether Mitchell Moses goes back to putting those kicks on the third last defender this week.
He's been in form since returning. Let's go to their opponent, the Melbourne Storm. This year, we've maybe noticed more than ever the departure of some of their key performers in Nicho Hynes, Dale Finucane, Josh Addo-Carr. However, you mentioned Cameron Munster going back to fullback. Also got Harry Grant firing at dummy half. Show us the different ways that the Storm can beat you. Yeah,
well, we'll go back a couple of weeks ago when the Melbourne Storm beat the Brisbane Broncos by 60 points. And Harry Grant had a significant impact on the result that night, particularly the amount of points that the Storm were able to score. So I want to show you 3 different ways that he was effective on this particular night. You'll see here, this play here, this is Ryan James for the Brisbane Broncos. Ryan James' attention is turned in on Harry Grant. He's not actually looking up and identifying where Kamikamica, the Melbourne number 15 there is. So he's got all eyes for Harry Grant. Great work or great deception by Harry Grant. Ryan James is in no man's land there, makes the play. Kamikamica scores right next to the sticks for a 4-pointer. Another way that Harry Grant can beat teams is this. You'll see here there's 3 defenders not in the line. So you've got Katoni Staggs, Adam Reynolds, and then Jordan Ricky all not set in the line. So there's 3 defenders out. Melbourne Storm have created instability. So Harry Grant, what's he do? He looks up. The first thing he sees is Adam Reynolds still not set at marker. So he gets out, looks to make the play. He's got some really good push support there in these 3 attacking players for the Melbourne Storm. Doesn't need them. Puts the ball in one hand, goes through and scores the 4 points, again next to the stick. So that's 2 ways. Last way that Harry Grant can beat teams is this. What he's done is he's identified where Tamari Martin is. Now, this is a really smart play. This is on the last play. Harry Grant identifies there's no one protecting the backfield. So all that space in behind the try line, there's no one there to protect it. So Harry Grant, what's he do? He looks for Munster. Munster comes through here into that space. But great execution, holds Payne Haas up, puts it on the right foot. Cameron Munster does the job. So there's 3 4-pointers that Harry Grant was an integral part of. So against Parramatta on Thursday night, expect Harry Grant to come out, threaten the markers, threaten the defensive unit of the Parramatta Eels with his creativity.
Moving to Friday night now, and a bumper clash at the opening of Allianz Stadium. The Roosters at full strength. They've got as much talent and skills as any of the top 8 clubs. Last week against the Storm, they sent a bit of a message to everyone that they are a true contender, and they did it through their pack.
They did. They'll miss Victor Radley, there's no doubt about that this week. But one of the things we've seen is how well the 3 middle forwards for the Roosters have combined over recent weeks. 7 victories in a row. It's been off the back of the physicality of the 10, 8 and 13, and then the interchange players coming off the bench for the Sydney City Roosters. So you'll see here, I'll talk about working in threes. So there's 1, 2, 3 of the middle forwards all working together inside that, I suppose, attacking area of the Melbourne Storm when they're trying to defend their line. So you'll see the ball goes across. There's Victor Radley. Now he passes short to Matt Lodge. 1-on-1 or a 2-on-1 with Matt Lodge, he's hard to handle. He's created an enormous amount of momentum in recent weeks. This time he gets the offload away. So getting the offload away actually ties up not just the 2 guys in the tackle, but there's 5 defenders there for the Melbourne Storm who are tied up off the back of that offload. They create instability in the defensive line of the Storm. Now, Melbourne, very good. They work hard to try and scramble here. Most teams probably concede the try there with Angus Crichton crashing across. The Storm do a really good job to try and recover. But because they're under the pump, they're under pressure here with regards to their defensive line, you'll see that these 2 players, who are the left edge defenders there in Kenny Bromwich and Justin Olam, they're all the way inside the post. So there's only limited defenders outside the post. Really good play here by Luke Keary. Identifies that Joey Manu, who's got some space out wide, gets the ball across to him with a great crossfield kick, and they score the try, which was really crucial in the end result. So that's what Matt Lodge brings, but they work in threes. Now, we spoke about Victor Radley and him missing for the Sydney Roosters. If I just identify Takiaho, now he'll start in the 13 this week. Now he will play that Victor Radley role. Have a look at this. He digs all the way into the line. So you can see here, he holds up these defenders here. These defenders here in Munster and also Harry Grant on this occasion. Digs into the line. Tedesco's got a bit of space. So now Tedesco, because of the space that Takiaho created by digging into the line, it's a 2v2 situation. But again, they do an exceptional job, the Roosters. Crichton playing the left centre position, out of position, puts Joseph Suali'i into the left-hand side corner. Great finish there by the young winger. But that was fantastic play, again, by Takiaho, filling in that Victor Radley role. Last but not least, Jared Waerea-Hargreaves. You'll see him here. He's coming back late, but have a look at the work off the ball. Now, this is the thing that Jared does exceptionally well. Comes back late. You can see Tedesco organising the line. Harry Grant, we've spoken about his danger before, jumps out. There's Jared, there's Tedesco. Great try-saving tackle, which was really crucial because they end up winning by 4 points. There was some really good goal line defence by the Roosters, but those 3 middle forwards in particular have had a significant impact, and they will this weekend again.
They're coming, and if we're going to see a team outside the top 4, it may very well be the Roosters or their opponent. It's their traditional rival, of course, your old club, the South Sydney Rabbitohs. It was a big game against a big team in the Cowboys last week, and they got the 2 points. What did you like best about their performance?
I really liked how young Lachlan Ilias and Keon Koloamatangi are combining on that right-hand side. We speak so much about the left-hand side. And what I want to show you to start with is there's Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow playing as a 3-in defender for the North Queensland Cowboys. Now, this is foreign territory, so there's the hammer there. He normally plays as a fullback or a winger. He's defending in the front line. So have a look at this. There's Cody Walker passing the ball to Cameron Murray. Now it's at Lachlan Ilias. Now have a look at the cues that Keon and also Lachlan use here on the hammer. So there's the hammer. He's actually leaning out. So there he is in the number 1 jersey, leaning out. So that's a great cue to play short to Keon and come back at inside shoulder. So really good play here by the right-hand side edge for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And they go through and score a 4-pointer, which is really crucial in the end result. So really good right-hand side attack there. Their weapon over the last 3 or 4 seasons in particular has been their left-hand side. We've spoken about Alex Johnson and the amount of tries he's scoring. This is a real pet play for the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So what they're trying to do here, they're trying to use these 4 players. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Those 4 players have all got a role to play. So this player here in the number 3 jersey, his role is to try and get inside shoulder of the second last defender, which in this case is Peter Hiku there for the Cowboys. They're trying to create a 2v1 out the back of shape. So Cody Walker digs into the line. There's the lead runner. You can see
holding up that second last defender. And what it creates now is a 1-2 opportunity versus Kyle Fowler, only one defender. So Latrell Mitchell with Alex Johnson, they nail this 10 times out of 10. So great work from the South Sydney Rabbitohs left-hand side edge attack. And that's what will threaten the Roosters on Friday evening.
Great. Let's go to Saturday, and another of your old teams, the Brisbane Broncos, while losing a few recently, have beaten some of the big teams this year so far in the Sharks, Souths, and this game we're going to look at, the one before Pat Carrigan got suspended against the Eels, where they were really strong.
Well, we spoke about what Pat Carrigan brings from a defensive point of view last week before the Eels game. Now, he's coming back. He does only bring a work ethic in defence. He's very good with what he does in attack. And again, we talk about attacking in three. So there's Payne Haas, there's Pat Carrigan, there's Tom Flegler. So the three middle forwards for the Brisbane Broncos all working together. Pat Carrigan gets the ball here, goes into the contact, and this is brilliant work from him. Identifies as an opportunity to get a ball away. Now, Payne Haas, because he was in that ring of three attacking players, he's in a position to get the ball. We know what Payne Haas can do. If it's a one-on-one tackle, not too many players in the game can stop Payne Haas that close to the line. So really good work by Pat Carrigan. The other influential player this year that the Brisbane Broncos need to be at their best, or him at his best, on Saturday afternoon is Adam Reynolds. And one of the things that he's brought to the Broncos is a really considered kicking game. And what they've done here is they've actually used two players to gang up on one defender. So Dylan Brown there, the Parramatta Eels 3-in defender for the on the left-hand side of the Parramatta team there. They're ganging up on him. And you've got Katoni Staggs and Jordan Ricky starting close together. So really good positioning there by the two Broncos players. Adam Reynolds goes to the line there. You can see that there's ample space in the backfield here. All this space there for the Broncos to go through. Reynolds threads it through the line there, and because of Jordan Ricky's start position with Katoni Staggs, they're able to execute the play. So really good work by Adam Reynolds. The play previously, really good work by Patrick Carrigan. But the big thing for the Broncos this week is their defence. We've highlighted what they can do in attack. They've got to improve their defence.
Great. If Brisbane do hit back and win on Saturday night, the final spot in the 8 will come down to Sunday afternoon at Leichhardt Oval. The Raiders, like Brisbane, have their fair share of top 8 scalps this season, both the Roosters and the Rabbitohs, plus Cronulla twice and Melbourne in Melbourne. But it was this game we're going to look at now that against the Dragons that has put them in the position that they can now make the top 8. And one player in particular was the difference, Xavier Savage.
Yeah, it was. And this is significant in the context of the season now. Dragons were fighting for the top 8 at this particular time a few weeks ago. And the Raiders have won 6 out of their last 7 games. So they've had a really, I suppose, exceptional finish to the season after a really tricky start. Ricky Stewart's men have done a great job. And someone who's probably a little bit unheralded in their season so far is Xavier Savage. Now, we know he's got a whole heap of talent. Now, this particular play here, there's not much happening there for the Canberra Raiders. It's not executed exceptionally well. It's a great bit of skill and talent from Xavier Savage here. So in this situation, it's actually 2v2. So 2 attackers versus 2 defenders, so there's no overlap, there's no mathematical advantage. It's just Xavier Savage, a good piece of skill, as I said, gets to the outside, holds the ball in 2 hands. So gets on the outside of Zach Lomax, engages the right wing there for the Dragons, and puts over Jordan Rapana into the left-hand side corner. So really good play there by Xavier Savage. This is the other thing I like about the growth in his game. Ricky Stewart's done a really good job bringing Xavier through over the last few years. The person playing the ball is the halfback in Jamal Fogarty. Now, he normally takes the lead on last plays along with Jack Whiten, but Xavier Savage has stepped up. Xavier Savage, here in the number 1 jersey for the Raiders, steps up, realises that his halfback's been tackled and threads the ball through because there's a whole heap of space here. So threads the ball through. Really good job there. And it's the right-hand side winger for the Canberra Raiders there who nails the 4-pointer. And that was really crucial. I think it was 24 points to 22. A couple of little plays there by Xavier Savage had a significant impact on that result, and it gives the Raiders an opportunity on Sunday afternoon to nail a spot in the top 8.
Great stuff. Brilliant analysis as usual. Thank you, Siebes. It is all on the line this weekend, and if you want to head to any of the games, then simply go to nrl.com/tickets. If you can't get to the games, you can still watch it on Channel 9, Foxtel, Sky New Zealand or Kayo.